Hi, I'm Anaiis, Salles, Patreon Sage on YouTube. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to cover a few topics that are common to the experience of being on a sacred union journey, otherwise known by some people as the twin flame journey or experience. I've been getting lots of questions about the journey and the process from those of you who are watching my videos. So thank you very much for subscribing. And I will do a couple of short videos to talk about some of the basics with regard to the sacred union journey and the ascension process, because you know that game of talking through the can or starting in a circle and one person whispering something to the next person's ear and it going around the circle? And by the time it comes back to the starting point, it's a completely different message. And things have been lost along the way, and things have been added along the way to the original message. So I wanted to just touch base on the journey for those of you who are just becoming aware that there's a dynamic that you're involved in that is part of your spiritual evolution. There will be a new wave of people coming into the union experience in 2020, and lots of you are finding you're dealing with new and surprising events and experiences right now as part of your preparation. So having been through that a long time ago, and my opportunity to be on the sacred journey and meet my beloved was opened in 1996, and the door was opened and then it quickly closed again when my partner suddenly and unexpectedly passed away. But in our coming together, I had an opportunity to see a glimpse of what was possible. So that part of me went dormant for quite some time. And then in 2017, that aspect of experiencing myself as a fully evolving soul in wholeness and in alignment with Source opened up again, and I was catapulted onto the union experience, but in a very different way. And I'll talk about some of those differences in upcoming opportunities and information. But right now, I wanted you to just think about what does it mean to be in sacred union. And I'm gonna look at some of the really basic concepts and language that I see, because I look at other YouTube channel information, and I see some things that are a little concerning to me, and I feel that it's part of my job to just throw my hat into the ring and say, well, have you thought about this? And how does this feel when you get this information? And when you hear what I have to say, how does it feel in your body as your body listens to the frequency that I'm sharing and the frequencies that your body is looking for as part of your sacred union journey? The reason I say this is most people, not most, but some people are under the impression that coming into sacred union is a romantic experience. There are people who are under the impression that being on the sacred union journey is a romantic adventure and that you're going to meet the perfect person for your life experience, your perfect partner. That's one of the underlying concepts that gets misinterpreted from my perspective. Sacred union is the experience of coming into union with the source of you and me and everything and everyone else and all of creation, and I call that energy source. And for me, source is the equivalent to all potential creative energy at any time, at anywhere, in any universe, in any expression, and it is an eternal energy, and we are part of it, which means that we also have a little bit of that eternal nature inside of us, because here we are in the creation, and we're aware of being in the creation, and we're aware of this particular domain of creation, which I would describe as the 3D construct. We are aware that there are some difficulties here. So I want to talk about coming into union with Source first. That's a very dynamic process, and that is a function of energy and heart opening, or the potential to open your heart to remember and recognize who your creator is, and to remember and recognize yourself in the creation. So I think that's one of the most important things to clear up. When you're coming into the dynamic of union, you're coming into union with Source first. And that's a very personal and very individualized and unique set of experiences, although there's some commonalities. For me, that experience included a complete awakening in 1989, and I was a young adult then, and I wasn't meditating. I was someone who felt a very empathic connection to all of life and to the planet, but I was not, I didn't feel that I was unawakened. I didn't feel that I was missing anything. I had a pretty amazing, interesting, and dynamic life. But when the awakening experience happened to me, the door was opened throughout my whole energy field and my body and my consciousness. My entire life changed, literally in an instant. It was one of those kinds of stories. So I can speak personally about what it feels like to come into union with Source and have the amazing opportunity to be awake in Source, in creativity and play and beautiful energy of creativity and love being one and the same thing. And then that experience expanding from you and Source to you, allowing your own system to come into a relationship where you are always connected with Source within you, and you carry the spark of Source through the way that you live your life, in whatever way you're doing it. And there may be some changes that you'll make along the way as you allow more of Source love to become self-love. And then that expands into the experience of opening your heart, opening you, and you in your beautiful Source-sparked self, opening that to other people and still feeling your deep and beautiful connection with Source, and always being able to return to that inside through methods and tools and resources that work wonderfully for you. And they're not the same tools and methods and resources that work for everyone. So that's the basic part one of coming into sacred union. The other really important part of this journey is when we come into sacred union first with Source, we will be led through intuition and synchronicity and beautiful moments of insight and understanding, and sometimes a deep sense of remembrance, and we're not even sure what it is we're remembering. That will come later. But we do come into an awareness of the electric magnetic nature of all that becomes created into form of some kind. That could be a solid form, that could be an etheric form, or a form of light. In that balance within source creation, as it originally sparked before other distortions and other things moved into it to disturb it, electric energy is what we in our 3D construct call male energy. It is the energy that generates the electrical structure that holds form. And the feminine energy, we call it feminine, it doesn't have a gender, is magnetic, and it draws form to it and then fills that form that it selects to be in relationship with. It then fills that form with its source sparked feminine essence. So when we have the combination of the electric male and the magnetic female, we have electromagnetic energy. And in our 3D construct, we're very much aware of how electromagnetic is very much at the core foundation of how our world is formed and maintained. Everything that is alive carries an electrical signal. And I do mean organic life. I'm not talking about machinery that is artificially connected to an electrical impulse. Those things are not alive. We have used our life force to connect those machines that we have been induced to create and seduced to create. And in our environment, we're out of balance. So lots of times when you're watching someone on YouTube who's talking about twin flames or talking about sacred union, they're talking about balancing your inner masculine and your inner feminine. But what detail they seem to be leaving out, and it could be because they don't know, that what we're balancing is source, inner feminine, and inner masculine. So there are three energies involved, and the balance is 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. In our current environment in 3D, this balance is completely distorted. Source is nowhere in the mix, and the balance currently is 2/3 electric and 1/3 magnetic. We can look around, and it's easy to see at this point just how out of balance this distribution of energy, which overemphasizes the electrical masculine, undervalues the magnetic feminine, and doesn't include source in the equation at all. So that's my first little short mini lesson for you today, and I hope that you will take a look at my card readings because they're based on this understanding, and they're based on my life experience, and they're based on many years of teaching lots of people around the world, online and also in retreats and in workshops in many, many countries around the world that I've been really, really blessed, and hold tremendous gratitude to Source for allowing me to have that expression in my life. So that's a little mini lesson for you, and I do have an opportunity to study with me online, and that's coming up with my Conscious Co-Creation Masterclass, because once we come into sacred union with Source, Self, and Other, and we come into balance, then we are gifted by Source. Source will share with us even more energy, and Source will very, very beautifully and expertly develop us into becoming conscious co-creators. So that's where your spiritual evolution is leading you, and this is part of the ascension process, and I'll do another short video on the ascension process. It's not a religious experience. It's an energetic experience, and it has everything to do with your source spark, what we can call light energy or quanta, as in quantum physics. And then you can be part of being awake and aware in your entire energetic structure, and your physical body rests in the center like an egg in a nest of tremendous energy all around you that maintains you and nurtures you and grows you. Why? Because you are a part of creation, and you have something to contribute to the whole, and the whole is delighted to find out what it is that you are learning, and you do this through sharing that you're not even aware that you're doing. So I'll talk to you more about this, but if you're interested in studying with me, I'd love to have you. I'm getting lots of beautiful questions now. And one recent question that I got was talking about activated strands of DNA and how our lives change and who we become when our DNA is activated, and what we can decide that we want to devote, how much time and energy and attention to opening up to the process of DNA activation. And I will share that that's a very fluid process right now, and there's so much beautiful energy moving into the 3D domain, three-dimensional domain. We have first dimension, second dimension, and we experience ourselves physically in the third dimension. But that's all, that whole deck is being reshuffled right now. And Sacred Union and also the Twin Flame Journey is part of that deck being reshuffled. So I will include information on how you can join in on this online class, which will begin in October. And it's a course that we meet once a week for 6 weeks, so it'll get you finished up in time for you to begin to think about what you want to intentionally co-create for you in your soulful evolution in 2020. And it's going to be a big year for all of us, and we need to be making really conscious choices about who we are, why we are, how we are, wherever we are. Okay, thanks for watching, and do check out my readings, my intuitive card readings. Peace and blessings.